Hello, welcome once again. It's Friday. It's Friday, February the 28th. If I get this wrong, I got this in American dates, and I always get confused. Is it? Yeah, it can't be the 28th month. That's not the thing. Hi, welcome to the Fgeitas Show once again. I'm your host Fgeitas, and we're here to ask you the question: who let the Pokemons out? I don't even know. I don't even know, man. The Pokemon happened. I don't know, man. I saw the presentation, but I was not really watching the presentation, so I kind of missed some stuff. But yeah, Pokemon, apparently it's a thing. But yeah, man. busy week. Like as I was starting this week, I was talking to Rene, and Rene was like, "Oh yeah, like it's Monday and there's still no layoffs until, but we'll wait until your show, like later down the week, and see if something's gonna happen." And oh boy, boy, do we have news for you about layoffs. But first, before we go into that, hi, how you guys doing? Hey Ruben, hey Paulo, welcome everyone in chat to another episode. I'm sorry I had to reschedule this once again for Friday, but work has been going crazy, and we released a video yesterday on the Food Theory channel that really required me to be on the lookout, so I couldn't be streaming and doing stuff at the same time while talking about news. So yeah, but now that's out of the way. I spent my morning doing cooking, man. I'm trying to do some sort of New York style cheesecake, and I follow the recipe up to the T. And somehow I ended up burning the top layer of the freaking cheesecake somehow, even following the whole thing, like the whole recipe, because you got laid off of your own show. Yeah, so I tried to do this New York style cheesecake recipe, which is like a mixture of the original cheesecake and the Spanish one, the Basque cheesecake. So it's like the Basque cheesecake, but with a healthy dose of crumble at the bottom. And the recipe said, like, preheat the oven at 200 Celsius and leave it there for 40 minutes. I checked at 30-minute mark, and the top layer was absolutely black. Like I don't think it's like completely burned and unedible. Because I think like the filling of the cheesecake actually might be good, so I'm waiting for it to cool off, and I'll try that tomorrow, and I'll let you guys know. I'll probably post it on even on Discord or on social media. But boy, like I don't know how like these recipes say, like, yeah, 40 minutes in your oven, and you checked like 10 minutes before the recipe is supposedly done, and it's already burned. Like I don't know if it's my oven, I don't know if it's like the recipe that was wrong, I don't know if I did anything wrong. I followed those instructions and it still came out. God damn it, I hate making desserts. Hopefully the taste is good. We'll see. We'll see tomorrow. So if you guys don't hear any news from me during the next following week, it's probably because I died eating that cheesecake. Random thing. Yesterday I went shopping, and I said, okay, I need to take this. I need to take this like for tomorrow, because I usually get some type of energy drink. Like I don't drink a lot, but I do like energy drinks once in a while. But the monster, the zero sugar monster that I usually get, I don't know what happened there. Like, apparently there was maybe one of the cans that was there on the shelf, like probably exploded or something. But as soon as I grab the can is completely sticky, and I'm like, ugh, I'm not gonna take this home, because like I already messed up like my hand, and I don't want to take this and have to clean it. And then so I took two of the most foul looking energy drinks that they had there, and one was a Squid Game energy drink, which I didn't have tasted yet, but the other one was there's like a sparkling water called Perrier France, I don't know, but apparently now they have energy drinks as well. And I'm like, yeah, this looks absolutely disgusting. I need to actually try this. And I thought, well, maybe I can actually taste this on stream. I can actually taste this on stream and try to like give it an honest review about it. This says lime and lemon flavor. So I don't know if this is gonna be good or not. Maybe it's good, you know. So we'll try. We're gonna try it right here, right now. Does it smell like it? It actually smells like lime. Lime and detergent for some reason. This looks okay. Barely tastes like anything. Tastes like water with... Oh god. Actually, I take that back. Like the aftertaste is absolutely horrendous. And it tastes like water at first, like just water with a little bit of lime, hint of lime in there. But then like Jesus Christ, the aftertaste sets in, and it feels like you swallowed dish soap. Mixed with some water, and not even like the good smelling one. It actually tastes well. Yeah, this is not good. This is actually not good at all. Just so it's so bland at it's so bland at the beginning, and then like it just tastes like soap. No. Not good at all. Jesus Christ, why did I do this? I'm starting to like question my life decisions that led me up here. But yeah, let's move on to video games, man. To see if I can get this taste out of my mouth by talking about the video games that I've been playing this week. And I've been playing. I went back to. I went back to UFO 50. I still haven't finished Valbrace, but I was waiting for some stuff to finish from like my current work. And Profeta, thank you for the follow, man. Welcome to the Fgeitas Show. News show that happens every Thursday, except this week because it was Friday, because of work-related stuff. So it could happen in one of those days. But yeah, welcome to the show. So yeah, I went back to UFO 50. I went back to UFO 50, and I started playing pin golf, which is it's a mixture. It's not gamer subs, actually. Hey Quinn, it's not gamer subs. It's the bottle of gamer subs, but it's actually just what did I put it in? It's water with gooseberry syrup in the mixture, and one of those vitamin D tablets that are water soluble, you know. So like at least I get my daily dose of vitamin. Yeah. I stopped drinking gamer subs actually. Like it was not bad, but the problem is getting them over. And as like most of the brands in on YouTube being advertised, it's a hassle to get them through customs in Portugal. Basically, because like you order the stuff and most of the stuff usually gets stuck in customs and you have to pay extra to take them out of there, and like it takes forever. Like it's something that you just don't want to deal with. It's not that it's very difficult. It's very easy actually. You just go into their website and you pay what you need. But the problem, like, if you need to do this for everything that you order from outside the European Union, it's like, I don't want to deal with this at all. Just so fucking boring. Yeah, glad to be here watching. Finally got the chance to check one of your streams. I mean, if you, actually, I can link it here. Do I still remember the thing? Yeah. In case you missed it, like most of these shows. Not the random streams that I do sometimes gaming, because those are not scheduled. But the shows like the podcast or whatever you guys call this. I don't even know if this is called a podcast. It's just me rambling. It's usually on YouTube. As soon as I'm able to export the video from Twitch directly into there. Hopefully it's gonna be there. Like it's usually Fridays or Saturdays it's uploaded, unless something happens. But the VODs are all there. But yeah, in the meantime, what was I? Oh yeah, I got back to UFO 50 because I wanted to play some chill games while I was waiting for work stuff to be done. And I decided, okay, I'm gonna just play some pin golf. And pin golf is a very weird game where, I mean, it's not very weird, but it's a very interesting combination of pinball and golf, like a 2D golf where you just point the ball where like you want to shoot it. But the course has like a bunch of hazards and obstacles along the way, as well as some enemies. You don't have to hit the enemies or anything. You just need to hit the ball and get it on the hole. But I didn't realize, and this happens because I don't know how to read. Okay, so like with UFO 50, the manuals of each game, because it's like a collection of 50 games, right? Like you have the manuals for each game are on the page themselves. Like you can choose to enter the game or read the game files. And I was looking through the game through the online manual, and it says, okay, you press A to shoot the ball or to give it a whack, and mid-air you can press A to dunk the ball again. And I'm like, wait, what? I didn't know. Wait, I didn't know you could do this. Like midway through your shot, you could dunk the ball downwards and have it gain more momentum, and it was absolutely game changer. So like first level, I was struggling to get like the 3 par. Or like the 3 shots to get the par, and immediately, like first level, I shoot the ball up, I dunk it down midway through the shot, and it bounces on the ground and goes like almost straight into the shot, into the hole of that course, and I'm like, holy shit, this is something I was not like accounting for. So you can use that dunk to do a bunch of stuff. Like you can use it to hit obstacles, like you have in pinball, those bumpers. So like if the ball is like going upward, and you see there's a chance of you bouncing the ball on one of the bumpers, you can smack it, and like the ball will go so much further, and adds a layer of strategy to that game that is just like absolutely hilarious. So I spent a lot of time on pin golf this week. The other game I've been playing is like I told you guys that I've played Wolfenstein 1, so the Machine Games Wolfenstein, the New Order game, and I finished it on my trip to Copenhagen actually. Then I immediately started the Old Blood DLC, which was it's not a DLC. Like, you don't need the first game to play it. It's a standalone expansion, but it serves as a prequel to that game. And I think it was already a little bit better, but it was still that weird game where the contrast between the funny stuff and the seriousness of the character was not still like really fleshed out. BJ Blazkowicz says some really weird like it feels like he's suffering throughout the whole game while living in this campy horror Nazi infested world, right? And like the final boss kind of goes all the way through, because you start fighting zombies halfway through the game, or like almost at the end of the game, and the final boss is just like a gigantic monster that you need to kill like by brute force. There's no puzzle or anything, but the game was all right. Like I felt it, because it was shorter, it was also more bearable than the New Order. So I finished Old Blood, and my first thought was I should start Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus. But I'm not sure if I'm ready to just go for a third Wolfenstein in a row, because I'm not sure I want to like deal with this, I guess, lack of fleshing out the environment and the characters. That was not like the gunplay feels nice, the levels are fine, but it was like this dissonance between the campiness and the character that was throwing me off, because it felt the game wanted to be funnier, but somehow they chopped off his legs, and they're like, you can't be as funny as you'd like, because it will throw off people that like serious games, I guess. That's gonna be my guess. But anyway, like, I installed Wolfenstein 2 because eventually I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna play it anyway, just might as well just install it. So I install it, and on the same day I decided to just fuck it, I'm just gonna start it and see how it is. And immediately, like, obviously you not notice the bumping quality, like better graphics, better sound design, because the game is way more recent than Old Blood. But the thing that I noticed the most is they went full force on the comedy part, or the dark comedy part of the show, and like it immediately sets up the tone for the game, that they're like, okay, remember when BJ was like this super depressed guy, but everything around him was kind of wacky? We upped that contrast to fucking 11, and now you're gonna be hearing Blazko talking about how fucked up his life is. At the same time, if you look at the background, you're gonna laugh your ass off. So like immediately you start the game where New Order left it. So you are being rescued from the last mission, and you are kind of debilitated. So if you guys don't know, like, this is gonna, I'm gonna talk spoilers, because like if the game is old at this point, if you haven't played it, like, I mean, it's your fault. Like I haven't played it, and I somehow didn't get spoilers. But like at the end of the New Order, you have a mission where you have to like defeat the bad guy, and the bad guy has like a grenade, has a last resort, and it feels like Blazko is gonna die at the end of the first game. And obviously, like, something's gonna happen. Like, if there's a sequel, he's not gonna die. But you are getting rescued from this suicide mission, and they take you to their headquarters station, boat, whatever, where they are stationed. And like BJ is super debilitated. Like, they have you on a stretcher, like you are at the hospital. You get into coma for like 6 months. And suddenly your boat is getting attacked. This is like the first mission of New Colossus. Your boat is getting attacked, and now you are trying to escape a bunch of Nazis getting into your headquarters on a wheelchair. And it's immediately hilarious, because you're just like trying to move around, and you can't climb upstairs because you are in a wheelchair, right? You can't go down the stairs. Somehow Blazko is, for a guy that's been like 6 months in a coma, actually has their sense of sense of balance very well in place, because this guy just like throws himself out of the fucking stairs and never falls once. And you are just there like awkwardly like pushing your wheelchair and gun in hand, killing Nazis and trying to even doing stealth kills, which is absolutely hilarious if you think about it. Like how to do a fucking stealth kill with an axe while sitting on a wheelchair, and the guy is just like roaming around. And finally you find one of those scientists that you saved in the first one, the guy that has access to a bunch of technology, and the guy has like a microwave field between him and a door, so like no one can go through. And he sees you there. He deactivates the field. He gets you on his side, and he closes the door. He immediately activates the force field. As I'm saying this, as they're talking about where like what's happening, what's going on, and Blasco wants to go get his girlfriend, which is on another side of the ship. They are just talking, having these serious conversations, and you see a bunch of Nazis through the window of that place where they are. The first one crosses the microwave field, and immediately like gets turned into shit. Like he explodes from the inside out, and there's blood everywhere. And you hear another Nazi, like another soldier, coming from the back, like, oh, I think I heard something, and starts running in that direction, and also explodes. And suddenly, like, you hear two more guys like, I think they went this way, and poof, once again, another explosion. And this just keeps happening as Blasco and the scientists are talking to each other and trying to figure out what's the next move, like being all serious about it, and the guys just keep exploding. Oh, one. It feels like a Monty Python theme. It's so fucking hilarious. And this like sets up the tone for the rest of the game. I still haven't finished it, but the rest of the game just goes hand in hand with what this game is. It's like they turned the funny parts into 11, because now you are going into the United States, you are going into like several other places other than Europe, as you were in the first game, and everything just gets like extra funny. Like I'm not sure if I should call it dark humor, but the humor, like, and the irony and contrast of the scenes between like what's going on and like the silliness of it just gets exponentially like more contrasty than the previous games, and it's like immediately makes the game 10 times better. Another thing to note is that the soundtrack also evolved quite a lot, and it's by I think it's made by the guy that made the Doom soundtrack. I forgot his name now, but like immediately, like you get into, if you get into a fight, like if you fail a stealth sequence, or if you fail to do stealth through the game and you are forced to fight with a bunch of soldiers, the soundtrack immediately cranks the volume up, and you are like immediately triggered into a fight or flight situation. The soundtrack like gives you that extra oomph or that extra kick for you to just get there and be like, okay, I'm ready to fucking shoot some stuff, let's go. And the dual wield works so much better. Like the upgrades work differently as well. Like overall, like if you guys never played Wolfenstein, the Machine Games Wolfensteins, and you are like kind of figuring out if you should play the whole thing or just like play only one of them, I think like I cannot recommend you guys to play the first and the prequel, just unless you are like really curious about it, I guess. But if you just want to experience like the gameplay and a little bit of the story and see like what that team can really do with, if they let them like run loose, I guess, which I guess is what they did for the Indiana Jones now. But if you really want to experience like that team, like the Machine Games team at the really serious peak of their career, Wolfenstein, just go straight forward into Wolfenstein 2, and you're not going to be disappointed. Like there's even there's like you can see what happened before you start the game, and even make some choices that you had to make in the first game. So you can choose the timeline that you want to choose, or that you chose before if you played the previous games. Save games do not carry on to the new one, which makes perfect sense, because those games are like 10 years apart or something. Maybe not 10 years, but definitely like 8 or something. So yeah, there's like there's not a good reason for you guys to go back to Wolfenstein 1 and the prequel just to catch up with the whole story. Like, it's fine. But yeah, it's been Wolfenstein. Like, it's been absolutely hilarious. Like, I can't believe the jumping quality that this game has. And obviously, like, you have like the improved lighting and the improved animations. The combat feels so much better. It feels so much more interactive with everything. Like, now I feel the animations slide better into each other than the previous one. The previous one felt sometimes a little bit more mechanical, while this one you are like shooting up someone, you shoot up a leg, and the guy's trying like to run at you. You shoot up his leg. The guy starts complaining about his leg, and you can run up to him and axe him in the head. Or like if a dog comes up to you, it pulls you from your ankles, and you fall backwards, and you need to start shooting the dog while you are in a lay down position. Like, everything is so much better than Wolfenstein 2 that I can hardly believe. Like, I cannot believe that I'm enjoying a first person shooter so much. Like I haven't enjoyed like in so many years. It's crazy how good that game is. Which is like fine. I'm not even like a big first person shooter fan, and this one has me like hooked. Absolutely hooked. Like, I can't wait for me to like just go into the weekend and play some more fucking Wolfenstein 2. It's absolutely crazy. So yeah, like those are the video games that I've been playing. I've played like obviously like the tech and stuff that I keep practicing, and I've saw some demos that I wanted to show because the Steam Next Fest is happening. I have some highlights here that I can show you guys as well. But I think we'll move on into the news first before we actually talk about some games, some game highlights. What do you guys say? I missed it. There you go. And let's go into the first one. Abscon, thank you for the Prime. Welcome to the stream as well, man. 5 months. You are actually crazy, man. So many good streamers out there, and you're dumping your Prime on me. Thank you so much, man. Hope you're doing well. But yeah, let's go into the big news this week. Warner Brothers is closing 3 game studios and canceling Wonder Woman game. This has been broken by Jason Schreier from Bloomberg. As you guys know, Schreier usually gets these early scoops. Schreier is also a very big gaming journalist that usually if Schreier says something, it's usually right. Or if he leaks something, it's usually right. And yeah, like he published on Bloomberg about Warner Brothers shutting down 3 layoff time. Warner Brothers shutting down like 3 of his gaming studios. So they closed down Monolith Productions, which you guys probably know of the Shadow of War games, but also Fear, Condemned, for older gamers, for older PC gamers. You probably know the game Blood. You probably also know Blood 2, but no one cares about Blood 2. You only know you obviously know about Blood and a bunch of other titles. Like Monolith had 30 years of gaming experience, with fantastic titles overall. Throughout like multiple platforms and multiple years. Also, they are closing Multiversus Studios, the Player First games, and a mobile-focused studio, Warner Brothers San Diego. We don't know what San Diego was doing, to be honest. Like, we don't know if it was another mobile game or if they were doing something as like helping studios on the side. But the big ones here are obviously the Multiverses studio, the Player First Games, which, let's be honest, like, we all saw it coming with how badly the second launch of that game was after like Multiverses failed completely to make a comeback. I still believe they shouldn't have done like the mid process shutdown, which is something I was never I never understood why they do this. Like the open beta technical demo that they had going on was working perfectly at the time, and they decided to stop letting players access that demo. And they were like, okay, we're gonna shut down this for like a few months, and when we get back, the game is gonna be a little bit different, and you're gonna be able to enjoy this game like on a better state. But when the game came back, which was way later, almost a year if I'm not mistaken, the game was such in an absolute trash state that no one cared about it anymore. And the momentum that they had going with the first beta or the open beta, they absolutely lost it, which like I don't understand. The second big thing here is like Monolith was working on a Wonder Woman game, which, from what I understood, was being made since 2021, and then it got the production got rebooted beginning of 2023. From what I've been reading, the people at Monolith were trying to implement the Nemesis system that they implemented in the Shadow of Mordor games. Not sure if Shadow of War had it, now that I think about it. But I think they also had it. But yeah, they were trying to implement the same system in the Wonder Woman game, but for friendly NPCs, I guess. Wonder Woman would be able to the Nemesis system, exactly, the Nemesis system, but for friendly NPCs instead of villains, I guess. Which honestly, it kind of makes sense for a DC game. Like, why? I don't know how you could do that with villains, at least the big ones for a DC game. But to implement that with friendly NPCs was probably like a very hard task. And the studio was shut down. Basically, like, we saw some developers on Discord sending messages and some stuff that happened about the stuff that happened. They knew about it apparently a few hours before the general audience knew as well, which kind of sucks. But in a way, some of them were already counting on this because, you know, Warner Brothers games specifically, I mean, their movie division also kind of is not doing great, right? But their gaming division had a few hits in the past years, but they were like very scattered and very few. Like, I think the major hits that they had, like sales wise, I'm not gonna say critics wise, but it was Mortal Kombat 1, and it was at least like Mortal Kombat 1 sales expectations versus actual sales was a big hit. Apparently critics did not like Mortal Kombat as much, or the players, but that's a whole different topic. Like, sales wise, the game actually did well. And the second one was obviously Hogwarts Legacy, that like on the year it came out, surpassed everything. Like, it surpassed Call of Duty, it surpassed the most, like, FIFA. Basically, like, it was the most sold game in that year, which is like a big feature, right? Like, actually surpassing Call of Duty in a year where Call of Duty launches, which is every year at this point. It's fucking massive. So that game actually went really well, but then they had Suicide Squad failing, they had Gotham Knights failing, they had Multiverses failing. Apparently, there was another game that they put out. Which was it? The Quidditch one? Quidditch game cost them like 100 million. I have a note here. Let me pull this up if I can. God damn it. This was a Kami tweet. Wonder Woman was going to have the Nemesis systems in reverse, where you could talk to people and befriend them as allies. This actually sounds like super interesting. This was eventually scrapped when it was rebooted, so in 2023. Wonder Woman began production in May-June 2021, but was rebooted in late 2023. The game changed directors, and it became a more traditional God of War style action-adventure game. Makes sense. Monolith reportedly wasn't interested in making another Lord of the Rings games. After their original IP was cancelled by Warner Bros. In 2021. Monolith's entire leadership team and many devs quit. So yeah, this was probably one of the beginnings of the problems. One of the problems that started the whole chain of events. Monolith was forced to work on Wonder Woman while rebuilding their staff and leadership team at the same time. Impossible situation. This is crazy. If you are rebuilding the whole team and making a whole new game at the same time, it's very hard for coordination in both learning and like team building, and at the same time you need to do a whole game with people you are not used to work with, and it's something that it's imposed on you, so you have deadlines and all that. Like it's not great. In the meantime, many of the ex-Monolith team form Cliffhanger Games with Electronic Arts and are now working on a new Black Panther game. This makes me a lot, heck lot excited for this Black Panther game, which I had no idea if it was announced or anything, but taking into account that this team is now working on a Black Panther game, this game sounds like freaking cool. At least it got my curiosity up. And then like Wonder Woman was cancelled due to 2024 being a horrible year for Warner Brothers games. That makes sense. They lost 200 million on Suicide Squad and another 100 million on Multiverses and Quidditch. I'm not sure if this is 100 million on both or if it's 100 million on each. Now that I'm reading this plus a reboot that led to the cancellation, closure of the studio, and the ousting of their CEO. Okay. Monolith devs have no knowledge of the studio's closure. They learned about it on Tuesday, shortly before we did. That's proof. That fucking sucks, to be honest. This specific line here, like, it's so shitty. Imagine knowing that you're getting fired like a few hours before everyone knows it. And I'm gonna need to finish this anyway, but Jesus, this energy drink is not great. So yeah, like they lost a bunch of like 200 million here, then like another 200 on this game, I'm gonna bet. Quidditch Champions had a rough launch from what I understood. Like I feel people were expecting Quidditch to be, I guess, some sort of DLC for Hogwarts Legacy, but they ended up getting a Rocket League version of Quidditch, but underbaked. So the reception was not that great. From what I remember seeing like previously this week, they don't have many players on Steam. Quidditch Champions, let me check. It's not the price history. I want the player count. Steam charts, there you go. 41 players right now. Yeah, this is bad. This is kind of bad. 41 is not great. So yeah, I bet this game's gonna shut down. But yeah, just another one of like I feel like I've been repeating. I feel I've been repeating like these every week since I've started. I'm just on episode 6 now, if I'm not mistaken. I feel that every week we have a freaking major like studio or some other studio like getting people laid off, getting games canceled. Like, jeez, this industry is fucking cooked at this point. I want to say, like, from Monolith, I was not entertained by the Shadow of Mordor game. Like, I think it was alright, to be honest. The Nemesis system was interesting, but at some point you started to see the cracks in it. You know, like you could still, it was very interesting because like no one no one had done it before they do, obviously, and it was a very interesting system that they implemented. But at some point, like, the more you play that game, you started to see the cracks, and you started to see like the machine, the gears like turning, and how the system would work. It was still very funny and like very entertaining to watch, but you could still, it started to feel less and less organic as more you went on. And you could kind of manipulate it to your will, which was, again, not a bad thing, but it was funny to see how that game evolved over time. My two absolute like favorite franchises from this company would probably be Fear, especially Fear 1. Fear 1 was very, very like intelligent when it came out. The way the AI would react to you and how they would communicate with each other, it really felt like super dynamic at the time, where they would talk to each other and say they would get behind cover and try to flank you there. It was, if there's some like documentation out there that shows the system is more simple than it would actually appear to be, but while you were playing, you couldn't feel the gaminess part of it. Like it feel they were actually reacting to what you were doing and where you were on the firefight. So Fear was a pretty cool game. And the Condemned series as well. Like Condemned, I haven't played Condemned in like so many years, but I remember at the time buying that game on the Garden, codenamed exactly. I remember buying that game on like a bin sale, you know, like one of those used bin sales from game stores. And there was only like 2 games on my mind from that time where I remember having melee first-person combat. It's funny because like now I like years later I figure out they were both from the same team, so Fear and Condemned, and they feel like cousins of each other in a weird way, but you clearly feel who had the bigger love there. And the Fear was clearly the game where they put their hearts into it, and Condemned was this weird experimentation where they tried to do a melee combat like type of situation with detective things that you had to do in the game. You had to collect dead birds for some reason. Dead birds were some type of collectible that would unravel the story in that game. It's very weird, but it's weird and charming in a way. Like if you look at the games from that era, so I was saying, like, I remember 2 games from that era having first-person melee combat, and one was a game called Xenoclash. And Xenoclash was one of those like hidden gems that no one usually talks about, but it was kind of cool to play it, although it was like definitely underbaked and didn't have a very good story to follow through. But the second one was definitely Condemned, and like I feel like Condemned, I might get Condemned just to play it again and see how that fighting system holds up. I remember like feeling pretty good when that game, like you could like you would get the rebar like a lead pipe or some type of like a 2x4, and like you could smack people and really feel the impact on their heads with those bars and with those pipes. It felt novel at the time. Probably if I go back to it, it's gonna be like, oh, this feels like shit, you know. Like it really has that type of vibe. Eventually 2 came out, and 2 apparently sold super poorly. That's why there was never a PC port of Condemned 2 Bloodshot. And 3 is probably never gonna happen. But Condemned 1 is like, it's one of those interesting games from like beginning of Xbox 360 era, where they were still experimenting with stuff and trying to find new ways of, you know, interacting with the environment, with the detective clues and the way like you would interact with like for instance, you didn't have. Now you see this in a lot of games, but when you barely had any weapons besides the melee ones. Like you didn't have guns, right? And when you would get a gun or a shotgun or whatever, there was no HUD for the gun. So if you wanted to check out how many bullets you had a button to manually open the clip and see how many bullets there were. It would still like give you like a count on the corner of the screen, which is cool. Like if it's too much to count, and you can waste many time, like if you are in the middle of a fight or something. But it was kind of novel at the time to like, oh, this game doesn't have a proper HUD for you to see how many bullets you still have, so you actually need to take your clip out and count them manually and put it back up. So you actually need to lose time, and you can't be doing that in the middle of a firefight. I remember that game fondly, to be honest. And like now I feel like I'm never gonna get a Condemned 3, and we're never gonna get, you know, another Monolith game, which fucking sucks, to be honest. It's something that like Condemned. It's one of those games I still talk about once in a while, and hearing Monolith is going down, like it feels really shitty, to be honest. It's one of those things that Monolith had a lot of games that I've played and I remember fondly. Them being good or not, like it's besides the point. But there's a bunch of my childhood tied to these games, and it feels like really shitty to know that due to weird ass decisions of, you know, like corporate leadership and like basically the pursuit of profit instead of them delivering actual good games, like these studios are forced to shut down. And I feel like I say this every week now, which doesn't make it any better or doesn't make it any excuse, but like I'm starting to feel really tired of every week opening up this show and be like, okay, we have another layoff to talk about, and this time it's another game that I remember fondly. Or even if I don't remember fondly, like I bet someone remembers those games fondly and they are pissed about it. I think it's time for like so my thoughts on this is like, I feel we're getting to a point where most of the people that cared about game quality are like leaving the industry, you know, or like or being replaced by someone else, and the people that are leading these teams and they are making the calls are more concerned about profitability than actually delivering a good product at the end. And what this means is that eventually like their calls are going to be a shitty call, and you'll have like another game canceled, you have another team being laid off, but it's not relevant to them because at the end of the day, like it's just this game was not going to be profitable anyway, or this team was not being profitable, like Monolith Studios. So like three years without releasing any game and rebooting a game midway through, like it's for them it's just like another stain in the record sheet, instead of actually being like people working and trying to deliver the best product they could with the shots that they call themselves. Yeah, not great. Like I don't want to dwell on this too much because like it makes my blood boil, to be honest. Let's talk about something positive for a change. Monster Hunter Wilds hits nearly 1 million concurrent players. Actually, this is not true. Monster Hunter Wilds actually hit 1 million players concurrent, despite mixed reviews on performance. That makes sense. I can actually check this out. Steam charts. Monster Hunter Wilds. There you go. All-time peak 1 hour ago. 1,307,000 players. Almost 308,000. So yeah, Monster Hunter Wilds is doing great. Despite like some performance complaints on the PC side. To be fair, I tested that benchmark and rather like obviously my I still have a 2060. I was not expecting to run this game at all. But I was getting like on the lowest settings, I was getting 10 FPSs. Like I didn't feel like this game was really optimized, even with a benchmark. And a lot of people are complaining about the same. So I saw some people in chat, like in another stream this morning, saying they have a 3070, and they were like on the lowest settings, they were barely hitting the 55-60 mark, which is concerning. But obviously, like that's how PC games release nowadays, or even console games. To be honest, like even console games, they have performance patches all the time now. With the way even consoles are working with the performance and graphical fidelity modes. So like I'm not surprised by this at all, that like the performance has not been great. Eventually, like in a week or a month, the game will probably run fine. But yeah, congrats to Capcom, man, to launching another Monster Wilds and making it another fucking success. Which it's crazy to me how Monster Hunter went from this weird ass series where people were not really sure what even like that game was. I remember my first Monster Hunter was Monster Hunter Tri on the Wii, and it was kind of whack, but I spent that whole game. I went through the whole game on the Wiimote somehow, and I managed to go through. But like it's weird how they went from this weird underrated series to a worldwide phenomenon, and that's fucking cool to me. Like I love watching people like getting into these weird ass titles and actually making it big. So yeah, Monster Hunter Wilds, apparently like a lot of people playing it, at least on Steam. I'm not sure how many are playing on PlayStation or like Xbox. I don't know those numbers. Probably more than 10. I'm gonna say that. Probably more than 10 at least. Something is going on outside my building. I hope you guys are not listening like to any weird noises. I hope. But yeah, in the meantime, Xbox had an ID. 20 players, 22 on Xbox. Okay, that makes sense. I'm just kidding. This was not the thing I wanted to pull. ID at Xbox. Is it this? There was a couple of games I wanted to highlight from that ID at Xbox 2025. From IGN FanFest, I guess. Let me see. Showed off 22 games. Okay, 22 if we are positive today. I like the confidence. 22 players on Xbox. Like yes, let's fucking go. So yeah, 33. So a bunch of games got showed on the IGN FanFest. 33 Immortals. Some people were really into this. This feels like multiplayer Hades, but not really my thing. Update on Balatro for like Friends of Jimbo, so like more card skins if you fancy that. Fun fact, the card skins actually help me play Balatro better because of the color blindness, I can tell the cards apart better, if this makes sense. A game that we talked about like in some podcasts, and this was a recommendation by Abscon, the Blue Prince, which I'm about to show you guys. Just restarting this. I wish this was not like potato quality. Okay, thank you. Let me know if this is too loud.
My grandnephew, Simon P. Jones. The house and land which I own near Mount Holly.
This is escape the room type of situation, but it's a roguelike. And this feels like pretty awesome. Like I like the concept of it. Of you exploring a house and having several ways of making your own layout and try to solve the puzzle. And it's different every time you go into it. Definitely looking forward to this one. And if it's gonna be on Game Pass, I'll probably get Game Pass just to try it out. The Blueprints coming out on April 10th on Xbox Game Pass. Buckshot Roulette is a favorite of mine. I love playing the single player part of this. It's too loud. Okay. Buckshot Roulette is a very, very weird, interesting take on the Russian roulette genre. Basically, it's a game where you have several types of shotgun shots. Like, you have a shotgun loaded with several shots, but some of them are blank and some of them are regular. And you kind of need to bluff your way into not shooting yourself or not being shot. The multiplayer is out now for quite some time on PC. And now it's coming to Xbox on Game Pass. Like, I really recommend you guys try it out, because it's one of those weird games that it feels a bit kind of horror-ish, but the mechanics are way more than... It feels simple, but it's way more like involved than you would think it is. And also there's a whole ARG for you guys to find out if you are into this type of stuff. We actually had a video on game theory about the ARG, but it's not quite solved. So a pair of extra hands are always welcome. Another cool game, Descenders Next, comes out on April 9th. I'm not sure if it's the same as the first Descenders, but the first Descenders was a procedurally generated extreme sports game. I don't know if this still follows the same logic, if it's still procedurally generated as you go downhill. But this time you have several types of sports. I'll probably get copyright claimed on this one. But you have several sports now that you can pick from, and not only downhill. You have snowboard, you have that weird off-road skateboard with big tires, I guess. And the first one was kind of cool. Like, you could play that for quite some time, and it's like it's a big test of skill, basically. Where you need to adapt like almost in real time to whatever is happening like on screen. You need to realize that the next obstacle might be your impending doom. It's kind of cool. Monster Cat, probably not gonna be copyrighted. That's cool. Echo Waver, I don't remember this one. Oh yeah, I didn't like this one. It's fine. Hurdling. Hotel Barcelona. This is what I call a Fgeitas game, because it's one of the games that I will probably play it. This comes from the mind of Suda51 and Swery. Swery65. Suda51, if you guys remember, is the creator of No More Heroes, of the No More Heroes franchise, and also director of probably the best wrestling game that I ever played, called Fire Wrestling Pro. And you have Swery, which is the guy that made the cult classic. I'm not gonna say good game, but it's a cult classic called Deadly Premonition. An absolute weird-ass game based on, I guess, Twin Peaks. Like you are a detective and you need to investigate some type of weird shit that's happening on a small town. But it's absolutely crazy. It's not a very good game, like by like technicalities, by all metrics. It actually runs quite poorly still today on PC. But it's one of those games that it's so bad that it becomes good. So I recommend you guys to try it. And this comes from those two guys making a game together. Lies of P getting a new DLC, getting the DLC Overture, which sounds awesome. And what was the other one? Oh, Ratatan. I really roll that R there. Ratatan. The spiritual sequel to Patapon, a PSP game that later came out on PS4. This feels to me like carrying the legacy of an era of PlayStation that's not here anymore. It feels like this era where you had games like Patapon, you had Loco Roco, you had Echochrome, and a bunch of other more experimental games coming out on PSP and PS3 that eventually like faded away to give rise to more, I guess, more mainstream type of indies, you know, and like PlayStation not banking on these properties because they pursued a lot more like costly AAA games like Last of Us and God of War. But this feels like those indie devs carrying that legacy onto the indie scene and actually making it available on more platforms at this point. Really excited to try this out. It's gonna be one of those games that the songs get stuck in your head like after a good session. You still have the same mechanics now that I've watched. Like you still have the fever, you still have the rhythm mechanics that you need to nail down. How's the sound for you guys? Is it too low? Also, I love the art style. Like, it's quite different from the shadowy things from Patapon. It feels a lot more colorful. Like, it feels like the perfect evolution of that franchise, to be honest. But yeah, Hatatan coming to Xbox. There's no date yet. And the other one, which was probably my favorite game of the whole presentation, Tanuki's Pond Summer, where you play as a raccoon, or a tanuki actually, which is a Japanese bear dog things. And you play as a tanuki being a mailman on a BMX, and you can do tricks like Matt Hoffman's and Dave Mirra freestyle BMX. So yeah, this game, like, as soon as I saw a fucking tanuki doing tricks on a BMX, I'm like, I'm sold. I don't care. This is great, yeah, and you have mini games. You can play baseball. You have sumo. You have rhythm games to play. Yeah, you even have the quarter pipes laid down against the wall like in a regular Tony Hawk game.
This is Pond Summer. We hope you'll enjoy the adventure together. Tanuki Pond Summer. Available on Xbox Game Pass later this year.
Immediately went on my radar. And this is, I think it's all from Xbox. Nothing else like really like jumped onto my onto my eye, to be honest. Like some people were like digging wax heads, and the Tron feels weird, man. I'm not gonna lie. It feels weird for me to people saying it's gonna be an indie game presentation, which technically, yeah, sure. Like this feels like an indie game, but then it's like, oh yeah, this is coming from a Disney franchise, and I don't think Disney and indie in the same sentence it actually makes sense at all. Like I regardless of if the game is good or bad, indie and Disney should not belong in the same sentence. Disney is a fucking gigantic corporation that can very well take the hit if this game like fails, right? Is it though? Is it an indie? I hate that indie became this low budget small team equivalent, because I like, for me that's not what an indie game is. It never was. Like if it's gonna be indie, I hope this game is self-published, right? Actually, no, it's sure it's an independent dev, but it's being published by Devolver. There you go. But that's what independent used to mean, right? Like if it's independent, you are developing and publishing your own game. And then suddenly, like, indie became this vibe, you know, like suddenly, like you got games like Dave the Diver that looks like an indie. Sure, it looks like an indie, but the team behind it's definitely not an indie team. It's a gigantic team. But people look at that, oh yeah, like it's a retro style game, like it's pixel art, so it feels like an indie, so it's an indie. It became this whole vibe thing instead of actually meaning like an actual independent studio releasing a game. This is more like a rant than anything else, but like I don't like this, like we call indies a game that's being funded by Disney at some point. It's doesn't feel like a high risk, high reward or type of situation. Just feel like if they fail, it's like, yeah, for the team it's gonna suck, but for the IP owners, like whatever. Which like obviously the independent team publishing their own games like also sucks, like as a definition, and that's why like I don't dwell this much on it. But obviously people have heard me talk about like how Baldur's Gate is technically an independent game. It's a 300 million independent game, right? Because it's made and published by Larian. Or you got Ubisoft games. Like Ubisoft games are technically indie because it's developed by Ubisoft Studios and published by Ubisoft. So Ubisoft's just a big indie company. How would you define an indie developer pitching an idea and getting a small budget for their game? For their game? What? How you define an indie developer pitching an idea, getting a small budget for their game? So you're saying like if an indie developer goes to a publisher and asks for a small budget I'm not saying it's AAA. I'm not saying it's like, I'm not saying this game should be called a double A, right? I'm saying it should be called like anything else other than indie, a low budget game, a single A game, right? And a half, an A and a half. But like it's an A game, right? It's so like because like the or a B grade, if you want a B grade games, like we could do the same as movies. We could call it B grade or C grade if you want. But because like how I feel the gaming industry like copped out and took that AAA meaning from the financial and economic like stock trading and all that. So like for me, I can open a Miro if you want. Miro. Okay, let me sign up on this other window. Hello. We can open a Miro and discuss this a little bit if you want. So what's an indie game? So what you got here? Shut up. I don't want. Just give me a fucking marker. So you got like, this is for stocks, right? You got the AAA thing, you got the AA thing, and you got the A thing, right? And this like, so this is high investment, right? High investment, high reward. Okay. The AA games, it's like mid investment, and this is assuming like the game goes well, right? Mid reward, and the AA is like low investment. We can call like the AA's like the small games, right? Investment and low reward. Okay. This is like what I feel the game's budget should be. Like this is all budget. Okay. Like we're not talking about if it's. I don't think that's how you spell budget. That's just saying. Right? This is all related to budget. It's not if it's like if we're talking what types of budgets, like I don't care. I don't care how much this is because like this changes throughout the years. And what's a low budget now, like 14 years ago, it's definitely like a high budget. But this is all related to budget. And like the initial thing about indie games, or indie comes from independent, right? Independent, which means like you are doing all the work, right? You are developing, you are marketing the game, and you are publishing, right? Obviously, like if you are a small team, like you are, like I'm gonna say, like let's say that Snowman game we saw, you sent me like halfway through the week. That Snowman that changes the price according to the London weather, right? Like it's a small team, you have low budget, okay, and you are doing all this by yourself. Even the budget for marketing, it's gonna be small, right? So that's why you usually don't hear about like these types of I'm gonna say traditional marketing, right? Like the posts, the trailers, all those things. Like it's you don't have a lot of budget for this unless you go viral somehow. The traditional marketing strategy you will not have a lot of money to do this. Same goes like, and it goes up as you move up the budget, right? So this is all like how you publish, how is publish, right? Obviously, like as we go through the years, like you see this type of lines like getting all blurred out, right? Because like you have the big publishers, like I'm gonna say Activision at the time. Obviously they got bought now, but Activision would take up small studios and make like small games, usually AA or single A. But with the rise of the indie games that you had like in the 360 era, right? 360 era, PS3, Like you had games like the Explosion Man or Braid, the Dishwasher Samurai. I bet you remember that one. Those games were technically self-published, right? And that's became the indie scene as we know it. Obviously, indie games existed before this, like it always existed, but the rise of digital markets, such as the 360 store and like I'm not saying like it's wrong, right? I'm not saying this is. I mean, it's kind of wrong, but it's more like exploring the idea of why we call this indie, right? Why we call this indie, right? Because it's like you have like on this era, and like it couldn't be in any other era of gaming, because usually obviously you had the Steam market coming up, and you had other games like on PC, obviously, and you always had the piracy. Piracy was a big thing for indie developers before this era of gaming. Like if you probably remember the game Paradise Cafe if you're Portuguese. Or if you probably heard about it if you're an older guy. Hey Mark, welcome to chat, right? Yeah, like you like the indie scene was basically word to mouth, or word of mouth, and pirating games and spreading them around, right? With the rise of digital platformers, and you had like the proto scene with the Newsground stuff, and you had like the Flash games. Those were technically indie games because they were self-published, right? On most cases, but suddenly you could publish those games digitally on big storefronts like the 360 store or the PS3 store. So you had low budget games like Explosion Man, or you had the Samurai game, you had Braid, you had a bunch of other platformers coming up. Or the proliferation of retro style games, right? Where the indie became associated with those types of aesthetics, right? The 2D kind of retro style platformer was usually an indie at this time, because I'm gonna say usually, right? Because like most of the big players, like we're gonna say Activision, Ubisoft, were all searching for the AAA stuff, right? You had the Call of Duties, you had the Assassin's Creed, the Batmans of this generation, all searching for bigger and better graphics coming from that era, which obviously like it was the next evolution after the PS2. But indie found their footing on the digital market, right? And as soon as you went from the 360 to the PS4 era, like on the rise of that generation, Xbox One, some bigger publishers, so like publishers that wanted to explore this space of the retro style or the low budget games without committing to like a AA stuff, like you had, Space Marine 1. Started to get those games like the retro style and the platformers, like the more traditional old school types of games. They started to develop those and also like funding some studios, right? But they were still calling them indie. But indie always meant, and it will always meant to me, like independently published. So like in like halfway through the I guess in the transition from the generation, indie, like the indie games stopped meaning on the general public sense, right? The general public or the general audience stopped caring if indie was actually independent or if it wasn't independent. It became the vibe, right? Like, oh, it's a small team. It's like it's a low budget game. It's not single A anymore. It's actually an indie now, right? And that's why I say like, okay, I think it's it's just how it evolved and how marketing works, because it's I guess like what sounds cooler to you, right? Is it, hey, we got this small team and we're making this like small budget game. It's gonna be an indie game, or if you're gonna say like, hey, we have this single A game. Like single A game doesn't sound very good, right? Doesn't sound like, oh, it's a low budget game, but it's published by a bigger company. It's like, whatever, right? But if you call it an indie game, like it feels like something more how would say, more tailored to a specific niche, right? Right? And that's why, like, yeah, the game, it's not the studio though. Like this is on a game by game basis. The studio might not be bought, like it's the case of the ones that we were talking about with I forgot the name of the Tron studio, but the people developing the Tron studio were commissioned to do a Tron game. Like they had their chances of making a Tron game, if they were them pitching, or if it was Disney just looking at the studio and be like, yeah, these guys can do the game. Like, we don't know. But regardless, like the game, like it needs to be, it's a 13-person team, okay. Like regardless, like we don't call like the game, like we're like the thing, like we should look at the games by their budget and not by who's making it, right? Like if suddenly like Activision, right, if suddenly Activision decides to make a 2D Call of Duty with like retro style pixels or something, like would they call it an indie? Because like, oh, we just need like 20 people doing, but they're still working at like Treyarch. Like it would be kind of weird, right? But we would still call it indie because it looks like an indie, right? It's more like I just don't like, I don't like the idea of a big corporation like Disney taking advantage of word shenanigans and call these games indie to make it look like a small project when they could have done whatever. It's more like that. It's more like a rant, to be honest. And yeah, Witcher absolutely. Witcher is absolutely independent. Like I don't think there's anything wrong with calling Witcher independent, because they are an independent team. They are part of CD Projekt Red. Sure, it's like, would this call it an indie? No, it's an independent game, but it's a big budget indie, right? I think there's so much wrong. Why would it be wrong? Are we not saying The Witcher is independent? I mean, unless you're counting the government funding and the Tencent funding from it, right? But technically, the game is developed in-house and published in-house. It's made by the Polish people. Okay, but and what about Baldur's Gate then? Is it wrong to call Baldur's Gate independent? Right? It's like it's a discussion that gets us nowhere, because like this is not gonna dictate how we see games anyway, or how the marketing is gonna how like the marketing evolved over time. Right? It's more like a personal rant about how we, like, biggest corporations and investors ended up like co-opting words and changing their meaning to something that it's not their original meaning to make them seem cooler, I guess. It rubs me the wrong way. It's more that than anything else, right? It's more like, oh, we have this smaller team. It's just like cute little guys. If Cyberpunk was indie, it would never release in the state it was released. I mean, probably not. Probably not. Like that actually felt like super funny. That felt super funny to read because yeah, probably they would just kept the game like from being like over budget and overblown. But that's true. Yeah, it would probably have not released in such a poor state. That's actually true. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But yeah, like this is more on a rant than anything else. I just like it happened the same with music, you know. Indie music stopped from being self-published music to suddenly there were these guys making indie music that was just like Britpop or Brit rock with alternative mixer in it, kind of like the Strokes. Like for instance, the Strokes are considered an indie band, right? Because like, oh, they were self-published, they were at the beginning, or they were like alternative rock. But people call Strokes an indie band or Interpol or whatever. But if you look at the parents that are the parents from the main guy from Strokes, the lead singer, I forgot his name now, Julian Casablanca, I believe, or Casablancas. Julian was already tied to the music industry when they started the Strokes, because their parents owned the record company, and like they kind of used their parents' ability to maneuver outside the industry. So it's like they were not. Yes, they sounded indie, but they were not really indie. You know, like it's just like I guess it's just like how marketing works. Marketing works. I think indie is a very marketable word, obviously, and that's why it ended up like becoming what indie means now. But yeah, like it is what it is. Like it's not something that I'm gonna change anything. But like I still would like to think that there are actually independent teams working and making cool budget games, like Balatro, for instance. But yeah, in the meantime, something that you sent to me this week, and I think I need to point this out. There was not wrong news. I'm so sorry. Indie Studio introduces a unique base temperature-based pricing system for its Snowman game. The price of good snowman is hard to build, depends on the current temperature in London. This is one of those things that like the game has like been out for 10 years. I never heard of it. But if you go buy the game on itch.io, the price of that game currently is the same price as the weather in London. So let's check the weather in London, I guess. Right now it's 9:50. Let's check Google. London weather now. It's 9. Okay, it's I'm gonna give it the thing 9.5. Okay, and it's so funny. The cool thing about this is like obviously this only works on itch.io, but the fact that like I mean I want to buy that game, but maybe I should wait until it's like midnight, maybe, or like until it's 4 a.m. So I go into this page, you actually buy this game. The cool thing about this is that you can buy now, right? And go here, but you can basically like, okay, it's 9.5 Celsius, but if you change it to Fahrenheit, it's actually 49.10, and you can pay 49.10, or you can do it the Kelvin way and do it like $282 for this game. It's a very funny way of making like the game go viral in some ways. I was talking to Sufficious a few hours ago, and she said that this might be kind of weird to follow the Steam rules though, because like you can get this game on Steam. And we're open Steam here. Let's see if I can find it. Snowman is hard to build. This is a puzzle game, by the way. Snowman is hard to build. And currently on Steam, it's $14.99, actually. There's a thing where you cannot have different prices for if you have a game on Steam. You cannot have different prices of that game in different stores, with two exceptions. If you have the game on a different store and it's a different price, the price might be higher, but it can't be lower than Steam. This is something about like fair competition or whatever. And obviously, like, it makes sense. You don't want like special prices for different stores, but Steam knows that if you are making obviously like a higher price somewhere else, people are probably gonna buy that on Steam. If it's lower though, then you're not really making a fair competition for Steam or your game, right? But the other exception is if it's like a sale, right? And it's probably like that's the loop that they are using this time, which is to actually make the game on a like the game is on constant sale on itch.io, and and therefore like not breaking any of the Steam rules. It's pretty cool. Like, it's a very viral way of doing marketing, so I really appreciate this. Sorry, it's the talking for a while. It does this 2-year thing. But yeah, good Snowman is hard to build. I'm gonna leave the link of itch.io here on chat if you guys want to check it out, and maybe wait until the sun is out in London to get that. In the meantime, something I was not expecting to see is a new 2D game based on Terminator 2. This trailer was
Peggy 16.
fucking awesome. This is made by Reef Entertainment and Beatmap Burrow. Let me know if it's too loud for you. I like this, like, big Contra vibes. I like that you have multiple characters to play as. Like, you can play as Sarah Connor, you can play as naked Schwarzenegger, I guess. So yeah. If you fancy naked Schwarzenegger, I guess this is a good game for you guys. But also you can play as John Connor in some alternate timelines. There you go, naked Schwarzenegger just going ham. This looks so fucking cool, man. I want to play this game. I like this continue. It's just like cherry on top of the cake. Absolutely awesome. Coming for PS5, PS4, Xbox, Switch, and Steam as well. No Steam on the trailer? Wait, no Steam? Oh, there you go. Epic Games in store. Sadly, no GOG. It feels like the game that we should have had when this movie came out, but we never had, like the Mega Drive era, I guess. It was kind of neat. Terminator. Guitar Hero fans, I don't know if there's anyone in chat. I know I am. I know Rene also is. But Gibson is making a new Guitar Hero controller. If you miss playing those games, and there's also like Open Hero on PC, if you wanna get access to a bunch more music. But Gibson is actually making a licensed guitar and a new Les Paul model. If you want to play Guitar Hero, they actually look pretty dope. They're not that expensive. I thought they, like, for such a niche game accessory, they were actually pricing this higher, but 150 for a guitar controller, it's still like, it's not cheap, but I thought they were gonna crank the price up, to be honest. Unfortunately, the Xbox versions don't have a legacy mode, but are officially licensed for use on Xbox Series S and X, meaning you can play Rock Band 4 on those consoles. Also work on PC and Android. At this point, like I wish this game would actually like make a comeback, but Activision killed it by releasing 5 Guitar Heroes in the same year, and everyone got sick of it. Maybe, you know, pacing the release of that game, of those games, like a little bit better, or actually doing a Rock Band and making like a live service where you could download songs or song packs, I guess, just to play them would be probably better. But yeah, like new guitars for you guitar freaks out there. In the meantime, here's the first look at Pokemon Legends ZA. Pokemon had a big presentation yesterday, actually. And they showed a bunch of gameplay for some of their mobile games and a new game called Pokemon Champions, which apparently is like a follow-up spiritual sequel for Pokemon Stadium that's going to be available for mobile and Switch systems, I guess. We don't know nothing about the Switch 2, but I'm betting this is going to be Switch and Switch 2. I wish I got the trailer though. Thanks for not putting up a fucking trailer, VGC. Now I need to go into YouTube. Are you happy? Of course, no one's happy. Pokemon Legends ZA trailer. IGN. Okay, there you go. Actually, we can do the whole Pokemon Presents thing. And skip some of the stuff. Oh god, this is too loud! My ears!
February 27 is Pokemon Day. This is the date the
Pokemon Day, blah 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 blah. Okay, oh, actually, this looks so cool.
It's the Netflix series
I forgot about this. Pokemon Concierge looks... So I haven't seen the first season, but I love this art style. It looks so cute.
Her feet as a new concierge, and Psyduck as they grow together through their interactions with the resort's Pokemon guests. Its charm lies in the warm visuals that can be achieved only through stop-motion animation. And new episodes of Pokemon Concierge are in production. They are slated for release in September 2025. What sort of Pokemon will Haru and Psyduck welcome as guests next? Take a first look at a few of the Pokemon they will meet in this motion test footage. Just
I love like how
they move.
like fluffy they feel. Like you can feel how fuzzy they are, like just by looking at it.
Are available to watch on Pokemon's official YouTube channel for free. Please take this chance to watch them if you haven't been able to tune in to Pokemon Concierge yet. And we hope you look forward to the new episodes as well.
So yeah, you can watch them on an official Pokemon YouTube channel, and they're coming to Netflix.
At no cost.
I'm gonna be real with you guys. I'm gonna skip this entire thing about Pokemon Go and cards and all that because I don't care about any of this. There's cards and there's games. You can play them. Go download them on your mobile if you fancy those. But this was the champion things they were talking about. I like how they do the generations things to introduce the new game, like clearly stating like, hey, this is gonna be like the next evolution of those types of games that you guys were played in when you were younger, but now you can do that on the go with the Switch and on the mobile game. So this is actually like how Stadium worked. You had to get your Pokemons, have the Game Boy Pocket yet. Those were freaking cool. I never had the Game Boy actually, unless like later. I actually got some Game Boy later was the advanced one. But I never played Pokemon on an original Game Boy on the height of its era. But this is basically like you got your Pokemons that you've been training and you've been playing with them through your games, and you can get them on your Pokemon home onto this game and play them like on the online battler scenario. I think that's cool. Like Pokemon championships are always like a big thing overall. Like I never watched the Pokemon tournament or anything. Like it's not. I don't even care for Pokemon that much. But I feel like for competitive players, it's gonna be pretty cool because they can just play online. I heard there's like some cheating problems though, with like auto-generated Pokemons, but you know, like that's the problem that they're gonna have to fix by themselves, or not. This is like them introducing a whole language, I guess, and this is the trailer for ZA. As someone who didn't like Arceus at all, hey Chunko, welcome to the chat, man. As someone who didn't fit, like, I couldn't do more than, I guess, 4 hours on Arceus because I was getting bored out of my mind. I feel this looks fine. I don't know. Yeah, it looks the same game as the main Pokemon games, and I'm like, I don't, like, I'm not at this point, like, I'm not expecting Pokemon to have amazing graphics or to have like amazing like tech, right? But I feel this is like perfectly fine for a new entry of the Pokemon series. But again, like, I understand, like, Pokemon fans have different expectations, and obviously they want more and better games. At this point, I'm like, I will probably not play this at all, since I did not like Sword and Shield. I did not like Arceus. I don't think, like, I don't think Pokemon games are for me. But honestly, like, what they showed here, like, looks rad, I guess. Sure, the graphics could have been a little bit better. But the combat system actually looks interesting this time.
Pokemon Legends ZA is a new title in the Pokemon series. The story takes place in Lumio City.
I like how they confine this to a single town instead of having like multiple towns to go out and try different stuff, because I feel they are exploring a lot more of the verticality, which is something I don't think you ever seen in a Pokemon game.
You'll meet 3 Pokemon, one of which will become your first partner.
At least that I think of, to be honest. Like, I'm not sure.
You'll choose one of these Pokemon to accompany you on a new journey as you get to know.
Some people were hating on the starters. They feel fine.
Here are some of the colorful characters you'll encounter. When you arrive in Lumiose, you'll meet a new friend and ally, either Urbane or Tawny. The hotel where you'll be staying.
Can't believe they put JP in the fucking game, man.
You'll also meet his partner, Floette. Lumiose's redevelopment is being managed by Quasar.
Yeah, I think like this is gonna work by only exploring the city. Like, if they make the city interesting to explore, I think like it's a win, right? I think it's a win because like if you can go in buildings, I'm not saying like every building that you like. I don't want every building to be enterable, right? Like I don't want to be like, oh, explore the city and you can enter the building and it's like, cool, I can enter this building, but there's nothing in there. Like, fuck that. That's not fun, I guess. But if you have like a couple of different buildings that you can go in and have explored like from the insides, climb up to the buildings and have stuff to do there. Maybe going to the sewers, right? Like if you have Pokemon in the sewers, could be cool, right? So like instead of expanding the game or the world like on the outside, just like put more stuff on several levels. That might be cool, right?
your partner Pokemon through battles and dodge incoming attacks.
Fuck JP. Fuck JP.
Swap Pokemon if you need to and find the right moment to unleash a move.
Yeah, the combat feels different in a way
Pokemon
that
can go beyond evolution by undergoing Mega
you can't buy. Fuck.
When a trainer's keystone resonates with the Mega
I'm gonna allow
signal
that.
of your Pokemon,
I hope
the
you can
Pokemon
buy
will do more
baguettes.
than just
I love that it's a French person saying that.
It'll unlock a new level of power, turning the tide of battle in its favor. As Lumiose continues its transformation into a city that belongs to both people and Pokemon, who knows what kinds of encounters and
I feel like they're also teasing the city changing as you go along, and that's kind of cool. Like
Pokemon
even if you
Legends ZA.
start to know every corner of the city, if the city actually changes as you go along the game, like that's gonna be cool. It's gonna be nice. I missed this. Ah, okay.
Pokemon to begin.
And that was it for the Pokemon Presents. Pokemon on your phone and on your TV on the Switch. Cool. I don't know. Like, let me know what you guys think of it. I think it's kind of nice, to be honest, with what they showed here. Did I miss something? Oh yeah, PlayStation VR is getting a price cut, which almost made me consider buying one, to be honest. The price is dropping $150 and 150 euros if you're on the EU. So it's now going to cost 450. It's still like quite a lot, but if you have either a card that you can plug the VR directly, or if you need to buy the adapter, it's still one of the cheapest headsets on the market. Which makes it, you know, like kind of like for VR enthusiasts, or at least if you're curious to try VR, like it's a more appealing price than 600. I guess. So like, yeah, VR2 getting a price cut is actually pretty cool. On the good corporate news, Power World Studio is giving developers a day off to play Monster Hunter Wilds. That's actually pretty funny. Like, Pocket Pair says it's been getting mysterious notices from staff saying they will be ill today. Obviously, like, this is kind of cool, because if you, like, I bet this is like, if you're in the games industry, you obviously are aware that of the big titles coming out, right? And obviously Monster Hunter Wilds, it's something that people were expecting for quite a while. And you start to notice your employees being like, yeah, I maybe not be available on this specific date. And you start to notice, like, oh yeah, it's Monster Hunter Wilds, just like everyone take the fucking day off and go play this game. Which is cool, right? I think it's like pretty cool. It's been a while since we saw some good news coming from Pocket Pair. I think the lawsuit is still going with Nintendo, but having like a positive note coming from Pocket Pair is actually kind of nice. Always good to hear like more people do, or more bosses doing this. Like if a big game coming out, I bet maybe not this company specific, but I bet some companies will do the same for GTA 6. I hope, because it's probably the biggest release you're gonna have this year if it comes out this year. In the meantime, like, what else? We still have some time here. I want to highlight Steam Next Fest is happening, and you have a bunch of demos to try out. If I can actually open the store. Steam Next Fest. Please, just start. There you go. Steam Next Fest. It's ending on March 3 Pacific time, 10 a.m. Pacific time. I want to highlight some games. I actually put them on Discord. Fear 98. Fear 90. It was not on my radar because it feels like it's more of a weird like mishmash of a proof of concept. But yeah, I actually let's just highlight Fear 98, which is a mixture of FIFA and Silent Hill. I don't know how this plays. I'm not gonna lie, I have no idea how the fuck this plays, but it feels so unbelievably stupid that I want to try it out. And they have power-ups and shit. Hope I'm not getting hit by copyrights. What the fuck is happening? FIFA with zombies. I like how they actually implemented the fog from Silent Hill. Just give that, like, besides the low polygon thing, you can shoot, I guess. It's cool. FIFA Fear 98 actually looks dope as fuck. This is the type of shit I vibe with. Other games that I want to point out. I want to point out Shotgun Copman from the people that made My Friend Pedro as well. Shotgun Copman feels like a very interesting type of platformer where you use your guns as a like a double jump to give you momentum to the other side. I'm not gonna say the graphics are particularly appealing, but this is all focused on the gameplay. Also, this is loud as fuck. Go to hell. Yeah, like your gun has different abilities, and you can defeat laser pooping Satan, I guess. In this game, this feels kind of whack, not gonna lie, but it feels very silly in a good way. Another game coming from Colorgrave Studios. I really liked this one. I haven't downloaded the demo yet, but I saw some gameplay of it. This is like a retro pixel platformer mixed with, I'm gonna say, if you are aware of it or if you remember, this remembers me of Burger Time with WarioWare type of minigames, or like a Cooking Mama with WarioWare type of minigames. Basically, you need to make a cake. You gotta bake a cake. The way you get ingredients and for the recipes and all that, like it's all through these weird mini games that you need to complete. There's multiplayer, by the way, which is really cool. And yeah, you have to do like a bunch of shit. Like you have the platforming parts and you have the collectathon parts and the mini game parts. So this game feels really like funny and cozy in a weird way to play. And you guys should check it out. Actually, I'm gonna put. Actually, I've two things. One was the FIFA thing, like the Fear 98 there on your chat right now. Shotgun Copman as well. I'm gonna put it on chat, and this is gonna be all on Discord as well, since we are here. Just gonna put it here. and Claire Lamode. Claire Alamode. I probably butchered this anyway. But Claire Alamode, that's it. And there's another one which I forgot to put on my Discord, but I have it on another Discord, so it's fine. Which is a game called Skin Dip, and this was the most. I was not expecting this. So this is like an immersive sim, right? And you guys know like Prey, BioShock, all those types of games. But this one's a little bit more colorful. And your mission is to rescue cats from a space station. And I think that sells the promise. Like to me, like just we need cats. And then we need to save the cats from fucking space station.
Good job, everybody. Hang on, cats. I'm coming.
Good morning, Nina. As this ship's premium insurance policy, your mission is to free all members of the crew from the pirate incursion. Due to limitations in the freezing process, equipment must be procured on site. Meowcorp has authorized all
Feels very silly
property
as well.
damage.
There's someone on board. Everybody, check in. Alpha here.
This concludes your insurance commando orientation.
Charlie here. Delta here.
Good luck.
That's super funny.
Normal here. Thanks, crew. Looking good.
Nina, I heard you're getting back in the game.
Who are these people?
These pirates regenerate.
What do I do with the head?
Flush your head down the toilet.
I'm doing something personal, Lion.
Flush your head down the toilet.
Show yourself.
Words that you were never expecting to hear today, probably.
Nina Pasadena dead. Is everyone ready to fight?
We'll go with you to the end, Nina.
Get me to the refractor!
It's too dangerous.
Danger, wonky space. Danger, wonky space.
Enjoy the ride, Bojo.
I like how like all these systems kind of interact, like just like classic,
I have no idea what you're
classic.
Do your worst. I've been shaved before.
Like simulation type of game, like a Prey or a BioShock, and you can just do it like mix and match to give like your play style. These are all available on Discord if you guys want to join. And I think I'm gonna call it here. I think this is it. I think we've reached the end of our scheduled program. Thank you for stopping by. Actually, there's a big chance I might actually move this show to Fridays, actually, due to how work schedule has been lately. I think Fridays will probably be better for me in terms of both showcasing like what I want and not be basically on call while I do this thing. So I don't interrupt the show midway like happened a few weeks ago. But yeah, like other than that, oh yeah, I forgot to mention I finally removed my braces. The Invisalign thing that I had like for almost a year now. It feels weird. Like it feels so weird. Like I can finally feel my whole teeth, which is something I was not expecting to feel this week. But yeah, cool. I have my teeth. I have my teeth, my whole teeth back. In the meantime, you can follow me on socials there. I'm usually more yeah, it feels great, to be honest. Like it feels great to not have to have it all the time. Now I just need to use it like there's a contention bracelet for me to sleep, And the bottom row of teeth has like a permanent one. They put me like a wire, so I don't need to wear a retention brace on the bottom row, only on the top one, which is kind of weird. I feel the glue if I like put my tongue in there. I feel glue with the wire.
So you've decided
No, stop. They went around. But it's way better than having like weird brackets attachments to your front teeth. But yeah, like I'm usually more active on Twitter, obviously, and I post stuff on Instagram. Blue Sky has not been working as well for me as I would like to. I feel like as more people went to Blue Sky, that thing, like, it's starting to degrade a little bit, which happens in most social media, I guess. It's fine, like, don't worry. Like, I'm glad you guys are there, just listening to me ramble about stupid stuff, like what's an indie game, and trying out stupid energy beverages. Like, I shouldn't have. Like, maybe next week I'll try the Squid Game Netflix energy beverage, and we'll rank it compared to this one if you guys want. This one was not great. This was not good at all. But yeah, I'm gonna call it here. I'm gonna see if there's someone we can raid in the meantime. Let me check if someone's streaming. We can raid Yaya this time. Yaya is currently playing Hidden Ones, I think. Or Monster Hunter? Not even sure. Yeah. We can go Yaya. Yaya is a fighting game expert. Guy is pretty cool. So say hi for me while we are there. And this is gonna do it for the show. Thank you guys for sticking there and being around. And I guess I'll see you guys on the next Friday. I'm gonna make it a point in here to Friday, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna stream this weekend, but there's a high chance I'll stream some Tekken during the weekend. So yay, Tekken stream. So yeah, you guys take care, have fun, and I'll see you guys next week.